G'day there. Welcome along to the BYC podcast with myself, G Lane, stepping in for Jason Hoyt, Dylan Cleaver, and Paul Stewart Ford. I believe Jason Hoyt is voicing a new season of Dog Squad this afternoon, so he's unavailable for this podcast. But really, I think I can do a pretty good job because all he does is agree with whatever Dylan says.
And he's made some terrible errors, which we'll get to soon.
Yeah, so I'll just go.
Is he great?
I'll taking a leaf out of his book. I'll just go, I totally agree, Dylan. Right, let's move along because he obviously wants to get somewhere in a hurry always. And
he always I think he has a staff meeting, but 45 minutes after. We never ever go for 45 minutes. So he's never been late to it, but he's always worried about that. That's going to be a thing.
Paul Ford, there is no staff meeting. He's always in a hurry to go nowhere. Okay, and he carries a man bag around that has nothing in it. It has an empty pack of Nicorette in it. We looked one time and just said, "What the fuck is he carrying around in that bag?" And he had an empty packet of Nicorette. That's it.
What does he want you to think? Like it's scripts?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, or anything really. Yeah. But anyway, he's not here, so it's me, and so let's get into it. Cricket World Cup.
What a World Cup!
What's going on?
Where do we start? I think we should start actually with the elephant in the room, the Angelo Mathews dismissal.
Oh, yeah.
Is it genius or penis?
Well, the genius part of it is he's got a shirt that says 69 on the back. So he's come out, that's half the problem, is he's come out with 69 on his back and he's been timed out. Can someone tell me what was it? What happened? His chin strap?
Yeah.
Blamed it on the chin strap?
So
Can't you just face a ball and then get a new helmet?
He wobbled out quite slowly as it was anyway. He never moves at great pace now, as you can see in the field. So he got there, and he reckons he got there and was ready to face at 1 minute 54 seconds.
I'm with him on this. I'm with him on this.
Yep. Well, I think it's a shit dismissal, but we'll get there. So 1 minute 54, he's ready to face, and then as a last act, he's gone to tighten his chin strap, and it's fallen to bits. And he's immediately taken off his helmet and waved it. And they're going, okay, right, we better stop then. And as the story goes, when Bangladesh were in a huddle, as this helmet took forever to come out, one of the fielders came up to Shakib Al Hasan and go, if we appeal now,
he's out.
He's timed out. So Shakib Al Hasan, you can see him go up to Murray Erasmus, who loves a headline. Oh. The guy loves a headline.
Did he do a full appeal, like, in front of him? That would have been great.
And Erasmus says, well, it's out. And then he said to Shakib Al Hasan, look, do you want to go through with this? Because if you do, the guy's out, or would you rather withdraw it? And Shakib Al Hasan said, and then Angelo Mathews went up to him and said, please withdraw your appeal. And he said, I understand where you're coming from. I'm not withdrawing the appeal. Gone.
Yeah.
And cue moral outrage, everything.
Yeah, it's two 36-year-olds going toe-to-toe in their last World Cup with nothing to lose. And, there's a bit of bad blood between these two teams. They call it the Snake Derby, the Nagan Derby between these two countries. So there's a lot of sort of undercurrent, underbelly here. And, without getting into the technicalities of the rules, I think what you're saying, Dylan, is it's right. It did take him a while to get out there. It took him 65 seconds to get onto the ground. And then, 50 seconds later, he was ready to go, and then the helmet strap's broken. I think the thing that really pissed the bangers off was that when the strap broke, he just walked off towards the 12th man. He didn't come up to the umpires and be like, hey, my strap's broken, can I just pop back there? I know I'm sort of meant to be. He didn't go up to Shakib Al Hasan and say, hey, my strap's broken, or should I just face this ball? He just walked off like he was the king of the universe. Yeah. And Shakib Al Hasan is a prick. We know that. He's a prick. That's just his methodology of playing cricket, is that he's one of those niggly bastards, and if you give him an opportunity, he's going to have that smirk on his face, and he's going to probably try and take you down, because that's just how he plays the game. And these guys would have played, they're literally the same age. They would have played cricket probably for 25 years, as from kids to grown men, probably niggling for quarter of a century. And here it is, in a World Cup. It felt icky to me. I was watching it live. I was hopelessly confused. And my overriding thought of it before I shut up was, isn't it bizarre that it takes 10 minutes to sort something like this out on the field,
for a time,
and the whole rule is based on it being trying to create efficiency. Yeah. And it's just madness. And it's just so cricket.
The person after him could probably have been technically timed out as well because he was given out and it took him a long time to get off that field. So wouldn't that have been brilliant if the next guy walked out, they send him on his way too. Yeah. So I've got some good timed out facts actually. So it's never happened in international cricket before, but it's happened in first class cricket. But generally speaking, there's some fairly valid reasons for it. Like when Andrew Jordan was timed out when he was playing for Eastern Province versus Transvaal, he was not out overnight, but delayed getting to the ground because of floods.
Okay, that's understandable.
Yeah, but it's pretty harsh too to appeal for that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's neck deep in water. You're gone.
It sounds like he was probably about 19 days late to that, so it's probably slightly more outrageous.
Do you legitimately have to go up to the umpire and say, how's that?
Yep, you do. And apparently if Angelo Mathews had said time, he would have been all right, but he didn't. As Paul said, he just walked off.
Right.
There's another confusing one when Himalal Yadav was timed out playing for Tripura versus Orissa. He was talking to the team manager and did not attempt to reach the crease.
They didn't even bother.
Maybe there was a quick bowler on. And Vaspit Drakes, the West Indian, who was playing for Border versus Free State, was still flying in from the West Indies when he was required to bat and was therefore timed out. And there's a couple of others as well. One poor bugger, AJ Harris, who was playing for Nottinghamshire versus Durham University, was suffering with a groin injury, and he just couldn't get out there in time.
That would have been a good one to watch. There was a great one with Ganguly at Cape Town in 2007 as well. Graham Smith was the South African captain, and what had happened is India had lost 2 quick wickets, and Sachin Tendulkar was meant to be in, but he'd gone off the field towards the end of the South African batting innings, and so the next guy in, which was VVS Laxman, was in having a shit or in the shower or something. And Ganguly was next. And then they bang, bang, wicket. And everyone pointed at Tendulkar. And then the umpires he went to go out. And they're like, nah, he can't bat. And then the clock was running. And it took 6 minutes something to get out on the field. And Graham Smith was like, what are the rules here? And they went through it all. He got the explanation. And they just played on. And so, it is. It's interesting how there is something there, that there's a rule there that if you're feeling like a bit of a dickhead, you can grasp onto it. And I guess that's the whole point of this, right? Is the rule being applied in the correct way, in the way at which it was intended? And I'm not sure that it was. If he's at the crease ready to bat and then his bat helmet breaks, it feels to me like you're into a new incident. But Shakib Al Hasan, he said, I felt like I was at war and I did what I had to do for my team, That's the highest of high grounds.
Well, there you go. Also, Nathan Lyon almost technically got timed out at Lords when he pulled his calf muscle.
Oh, yeah, right.
And but obviously England were like, well, he's got no calf muscle, so they let him get away with that. But technically, he could have been timed out as well. Our
very own T-Bone must have been close as well when he couldn't find the way out through the long room at Lords and ended up having to go down through the public and leap over the fence.
Yeah.
Well, I
was just going to say, sorry, Mike, there was a lovely little piece, and I do wish Sri Lanka had won the game at the end of the day, but Mathews did get Shakib Al Hasan out, and then he did tap his watch as he got him out, which I thought was quite a nice touch.
Yeah, it would have been if Shakib Al Hasan hadn't pretty much guaranteed the win with his 82, and he's also flown home now. He's got a sore finger, so Shakib Al Hasan's gone.
He's done.
He's like the heel in wrestling. He's done his damage and then he's gone.
Speaking of, like, you're talking about T-Bone Blaine, our very own Colin de Grandhomme, can you remember him coming out in Hagley Oval without his bat? You remember that in the Test match? He was halfway out to the crease and he had to stop, run back to the changing room and get his bat.
Yeah,
it was one of the funniest.
Like a robot that forgot to put the battery in.
Yeah, it was so funny.
Madness.
It was so one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And I think he went out. He scored 100. I think it was against South Africa.
He did get 100 against South Africa at Hagley Oval. It was a brilliant 100 too.
Yeah. So obviously he'd switched his brain off because he'd forgotten his bat.
You obviously thought they were just wandering out into the field. I mean, so
they do say
pads on me.
They tick that box.
Glenn Maxwell, what a great New Zealander. We nearly saw our World Cup chances go up in smoke, but the big show, like you watch that highlights reel, the last 50 or so is insane. He's just standing in a kind of like he's paralysed at the crease and just swatting everything over mid-wicket.
Yep. So there's a great cricket nerd chat here in one of Peter Roebuck's books Tangled Up in Whites, he talked about the time when Majid Khan, the great Pakistani batter, was playing at Somerset, and they were talking about the techniques of batting, and someone was saying, the most important thing about batting is footwork. And Majid Khan said, no, that's complete bollocks. It's all hands. And the guy said, no, you can't bat without good footwork. And so he said, okay, I'm going to prove to you that it's not true. And he went out to bat in the nets and got all the bowlers to bowl him, and he tied his feet up with rope so he couldn't move them and
carted them,
pasted them around the nets. And I was thinking about that watching Maxwell, because that was phenomenal. There was these like hockey flicks that he was playing. It was insane. Like, he should knock himself out off the back of a golf cart playing the Jesse Ryder Cup more often. Yeah. Great New Zealand.
That's totally right. Yeah, how much money has mums and dads spent on cricket coaches telling their little kids how to get their footwork going? Complete and utter waste of time. It was amazing, Amazing. Like, as you say, both sides of the wicket, like reverse sweeps for 6, one-legged flicks over the leg side on one leg. I mean, what the hell? And it was he had a sore back. You could see Zampa coming down the steps over and over again, being like, "Do you want me to come on and bat?" And he's like, "No, just keep going. I just keep going, mate." And just whack another, array of boundaries. Let's not forget though, he got dropped when he was on 24. He got dropped an absolute goober at fine leg when he was on 33. And then there was an LBW. I don't know if you guys saw this. Given out, he walked off. And as he's like walking off, they review it, and absolutely miraculously, including him, it's completely shocked. The ball is tracking over the stump, and he walks back in. It's like, oh, come on. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable innings. 202 runs, and of course, Pat Cummins at the other end, 12 not out.
Of 68, well, that's the second massive partnership that those two have shared, where Pat Cummins' share of it's been fairly minimal.
But Ian Smith nearly blew a foo-foo. Smitty nearly lost his mind. Do you hear him at the end of this commentary? I think we've got the last part of it here when he brings up his 200.
6 to bring up 200 and win the game. Everybody here's on their feet. And Maxwell hits it high. Can it make it? It does make it. Glenn Maxwell. Unbelievable. The most remarkable thing you'll probably ever see in cricket. Absolutely mind-blowing.
You'll probably ever see. Yeah.
Didn't need the probably. You could have just run with it.
Yeah, he should have owned it.
At one point, Australia was it 0.7% on the Crickviz winning percentages? 99.3% Afghanistan was going to win that at 91 for 7. And of course, shouldn't forget, Maxwell came out, he was facing a hat-trick. His first ball was a hat-trick. And he was pretty bloody close to getting out on that one. I think he nicked it and it didn't carry through to the keeper. So talk about riding your luck. I mean, Afghanistan were really, really good in that game.
Yeah, they were, apart from catching. That was such an easy catch. And that guy Mujib has got history. They try and hide him around the corner there. He's such a bad fielder. He's like our Isodi on steroids. Like, that's where they put him.
Oh, harsh.
So he won't get any balls hit to him, and unfortunately the key one did. But we need to talk about just how important that was for New Zealand, right? Because if Afghanistan win that, and if the weather forecast stays true for tomorrow night, then that could be the difference. Glenn Maxwell could have got New Zealand into the semi-finals.
Always loved Glenn Maxwell. Yeah, always loved him. Never had a bad word to say about the Big Show.
The Big Show. Love the Big Show.
Love the Big Show. Yeah, so what's the story? We've farted along a bit here. We've lost 4 on the trot.
Yeah.
We won 4, lost 4. What can we still lose to Pakistan and still make it through?
Believe it or not, we can. I can tell you how that can happen. Actually, talking about those Cricinfo win predictors, when Pakistan were awarded that game the other night by Duckworth Lewis by 21 runs, the Cricinfo win predictor had New Zealand at 87% chance.
What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. So one of them's got their numbers seriously wrong. So if New Zealand either get a rain out or lose to Sri Lanka, as long as South Africa beat Afghanistan, and as long as England beat Pakistan, as long as New Zealand are not absolutely hammered by Sri Lanka, then they will still qualify.
But
what if South Africa just decide to not be very good against Afghanistan in that game?
That's a problem. It's a big
problematic, wouldn't it? And then they'd let Afghanistan sneak on through to play India in the semi.
That's the only scenario that.
But if we win, we're in. If we beat Sri Lanka,
not necessarily. If we beat Sri Lanka by just a smidgen, and then Pakistan absolutely come out and fuck a Zaman England, they could climb over New Zealand on the net run rate.
Oh. So to give you, I've got the maths on that. So if New Zealand beat Sri Lanka by, say, 50, Pakistan have to beat England by 180. So if we win by 1, they have to win by 130 runs. So that's sort of the rough delta that they need to get past. So they are going to be going absolutely hammer and tongs against England.
Yeah. Well, normally
sweaty bums.
Yeah, before this World Cup, you go, oh, sweet, England will rumble Pakistan, but they suck so hard.
Yeah.
That who knows? They could win by 150, by 200.
I'm
That's
not
how
sure.
bad England are playing.
There's a delegation flying in from England to get to the bottom of this World Cup debacle, so it might get there in time for them to lift their act for one last game.
Yeah. Anyway, so look, the weather as well. This is the worst possible scenario, isn't it, in terms of the result for the game that we have to win.
Thundery showers and a gentle breeze is the forecast for Bengaluru. 29 degrees.
I've been there in Bangalore during a thunderstorm. It's terrifying. There's black crows flying everywhere, like the lightning like you've never seen before. Raindrops is like thick as people's hands, pretty much. It's terrifying. When that is that the monsoon season-y kind of thing going on now? I don't know. That's what it seemed like when we were there.
I don't think you'd schedule a World Cup for monsoon season. I think it's a little bit...
Well, you wouldn't schedule any Indian games in the area where they get the monsoons. I think that's what you mean, Dylan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, true.
It is really pissing down there this week, though. Like, it's newsworthy, the weather specifically, and on social media, there's heaps of videos of just flooded roads and all sorts of things. That said, I think it is known for sort of these massive downpours and then it stops, and massive downpours and then it stops. So, yeah, maybe it's just going to be one of those really, really messy games, effectively a bit like a T20.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Scary.
It's terrifying. I can't deal with it. But this is how we do. This is how we do World Cups, don't we? We fart our way into the semi-finals, and we just have to win, upset India in the semi, tip them up, make them choke in their home country. They can't go through this whole World Cup unbeaten. Surely not. Sure, I mean they look great, but surely not.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah. Has that ever been done before? I feel like the Australians would have done that at some point. I haven't got that in my head.
No, New Zealand beat them in 2015. England definitely didn't go through unbeaten last time, but maybe back in the distant recesses of the past. Pakistan certainly didn't in 92. But
I'm going to take that away and do some homework.
Yeah, you do that.
Got a bit of New Zealand-related correspondence, actually. This one from Dave O, gutted after the loss to Pakistan. The positive thing will be when we knock them out on net run rate again. Sets it up nicely for a quarterfinal style match against Sri Lanka this week. India do look unstoppable, but anything can happen in a one-off knockout match. Thanks for the bonus pods and all the ongoing coverage of the World Cup.
Oh, it's nice.
Well, I think we talked about that, 2019. This is exactly the scenario that happened, isn't it? Where we did do what you said, Mike. We farted our way through, and then Pakistan had to, bowl whoever it was out for sort of 7 runs in their game, and it just obviously couldn't be done. So, yeah, jeepers. At least it is in our hands for now, up until the rain gods kick in.
And a little bit more, we've got something from Jack who's pointed us to a tweet, or is it an X, from the one and only Herschel Gibbs, who certainly knows what it's like to drop a World Cup. And he says, this Ravindra kid from New Zealand looks the real deal. Best young talent I've seen for a while. And Anusharam Lama replies, better than Gill and Brooke. And Herschel Gibbs just simply replies, yep.
It's a massive call, isn't it? I mean, do we care what Herschel Gibbs thinks? Is he
we do when he thinks stuff like this.
Yeah, okay. We think he's a massive tool, a weed smoking, match fixing racist who has arguments with the BCCI. But when he's talking about Ratchet and Ravindra, highly credible.
Yeah.
Highly credible.
Yeah, especially the hairy Rav.
Yeah.
Fair enough. About the hairy Rav.
In
I'm pretty sure he told some Pakistani players to go back to the zoo or something. He's got some. He's a loose unit.
And one final piece of correspondence regarding New Zealand, which I will try and abridge from Scott Redford, actually. Controversial. And he says it's a point I've raised with various CWC watching buddies over the last week or so to negative responses all round. With all due respect to him as a great New Zealander and cricketer, I think Latham needs to be dropped. It feels like he's been hidden in the batting order. If we're going well, bigger hitters come out, and essentially he's saying he doesn't really know what his role is. It's like he's there for accidental collapses to steady the ship. I understand that sort of contingency, but it does feel like a negative approach. He advocates giving Conway the gloves and slotting in another big hitter like Jimmy Neesham. It's a very well-written actual email. I'm not doing it justice here, but thoughts? Controversial. Vice captain.
It's an interesting one. I mean, I just had a quick look at the numbers. Tom Latham's average in one-day cricket in 2023 is 27.05. 2022, it was 56. 2021, it was 128, only 3 games. And in 2020, it was 49. So it's a pretty alarming slump in form when you actually look at those numbers. That 27-run average is off 25 matches and 22 bats. He scored 5 50s, 1 duck, and 0 hundred. So I actually think it's quite a fair point. I mean, I guess he's playing a little bit further down in the order now, and they don't use him in that sort of slogger role, so he tends to float lower. I don't know. It ties into something I was going to raise actually, connected, which I'll just make the point very quickly, which is around if you're going to do that to Conway, do you mess Conway up further? You know, we end up kind of dropping Latham, and then we're expecting Conway to go and open the batting, having kept for 50 overs, if that's the way the game goes. And I'm not sure if that's the way to go. And Conway himself is in an alarming slump. He scored 152 runs in that first game against England. Then his next 6 bats, he's only scored 127 runs. So we need more runs out of Conway. I'm not sure if giving him the gloves is the way to do it.
Yeah, it's a moot point and it's not going to happen. But to your point about wicket keeping and them playing, Quinton Cox done it all right. And Adam Gilchrist was reasonably handy at that as well. But
full-timers, right? And you know, to do it in the middle of the World Cup, it feels a bit hairy to me.
Hey, I've just got some information here. Teams to go unbeaten in Cricket World Cups. West Indies in 1975 and 79.
There you go.
And Australia, 2003 and 2007.
So lots have done it.
Yeah, so it's happened 4 times. But
it's pretty easy. So India will be able to do that then. That's going to happen.
No, they won't. They'll choke in the semis. They will choke.
Afghanistan.
Yeah. Oh, shut up. You guys got a lot of correspondence. Your listeners are very
learned,
very engaged, aren't they?
Yeah. And Paul, I believe you got something here on the knives are out.
The Bulldogs are out, I think. The English media have turned on their coach, and they sent their fielding coach out to do the press conference this week. Poor bastard. He did get asked about that, actually, and he said, I'm not quite sure why I'm the man to explain, but I'm an assistant coach, so I'm more than happy to come out and talk about the campaign. Anyway, Barney Ronay writes, nobody saw any of this Cricket World Cup collapse coming, but there's always clues. This was another one, a day when England's management decided the perfect person to address the failure of a champion team to explain the unravelling of an era that has enriched the careers of every player and administrator involved, that has touched those who love and support the game at home, an assistant coach who had never previously given a press conference. Frankly, Carl Hopkinson deserves a bonus, several rounds of drinks, and heartfelt thanks for fronting when no one else would. This was a farcical piece of public relations, contemptuous of the process, an act of disdain aimed presumably at a very supportive cricket media, and beyond that towards a doggedly loyal, wider cricketing public, also known as viewers and readers. God, they're in all sorts, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And they are pretty harsh, the English media like that, but he also made the very good point that you couldn't do it in football. You know, if the manager tried to send out an underling, there would be, you know, storming of the Bastille.
Right. Well, the thing is, I mean, I'm sure that there'll be books written about this horrendous campaign, but when your top order is consistently failing and you're getting bowled out for 215, 170, 129, 156, when your best batsman is David Milan, he's 23rd and he scored 286 runs. I mean, you are in all sorts of shit. They're in their top 5 batting statistics for the World Cup is Atkinson at number 2, David Willey at number 4, and Mark Wood at number 5. The only batsmen in their top 5 batters are Milan and Brooke. And Brooke can't get in the team. I mean, it is an absolute shambles.
So I didn't realise until the test team was announced that we go straight from this World Cup to play Bangladesh.
Almost straight, yeah.
Straight there. So the test team was announced. Any surprises there?
Yeah, a few. Would you like me to quickly run through the names?
Please.
Tim Southey, captain. Tom Blundell, Devon Conway, Matt Henry, Cole Jamieson, Tom Latham, Daryl Mitchell, Henry Nichols, Ajaz Patel, Glenn Phillips, Rachin Ravindra, Mitchell Santner, East Sodhi, Kane Williamson, and Will Young. So that's a 15-person squad. I guess the thing I'm surprised about is not necessarily the number of spinners, but the number of left-arm spinners. It's like we've gone from picking like 6 wicket keepers for every touring squad to picking, well, let's look at it. You've got Rachin Ravindra, who's the top order bat, but they're picking him because he can spin the ball as well. They've got Ajaz Patel, who they're bringing back, who went pretty well last time in subcontinent conditions. But Mitchell Santner, I mean, I'm not quite sure the thinking there, if I'm being honest.
And is Matt Henry fit? He's in the squad.
Yeah, he will be.
Oh, okay.
He will be.
Fair enough.
Do we have enough wicket keepers in there? 1.5?
Well, do you count Conway?
Yeah, he's the half.
Do you count Glenn Phillips as half wicket keeper, half an off spinner?
Yeah. And I guess Latham. Yeah, okay. We're probably all right, aren't we? Yeah, fair enough. Is Neil Wagner
keepers.
Unavailable, or was Neil Wagner not selected?
He is unavailable, isn't he? He's still broken.
Is he still coming back from his...
I thought he was available for this. Anyway, I don't know. It feels like something we need to sort out. It's an interesting coaching lineup too. Saqlain Mushtaq, Luke Ronke, Daniel Flynn, and Jacob Oram. So it could be quite a loose coaching group, let's be honest. It could be quite fun.
I'm actually quickly Googling Neil Wagner here because you've got it in my mind now that we may have missed a massive controversy.
Yeah, well, I know Michael Bracewell's still got the Achilles injury, so he's not available. Trent Bolt's super busy playing for the Deccan Gladiators and the Abu Dhabi Tens. Awesome. And Nichols is back. Henry, Asterisk, Jamieson and Southey. But the only fast bowlers are Henry, Jamieson and Southey. So, yeah, it almost feels like one of those spinner spots might have gone from left arm swing to left arm spin.
Yeah, right.
So let's go round the grounds while Dylan tries to... I'm pretty sure he just didn't get picked, Wagner. That's what I heard in the news.
Okay.
Anyway, let's go around the grounds. Plunkett Shield is well underway. You taking that in, Dylan?
Yeah, I am taking that in. I watch a bit of it on YouTube, and it's quite funny when you click on it. It shows you how many people are watching.
Yeah.
And at times it's up to 100 people watching.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Is it ever just one?
I've seen it as low as 20-something, I think. Normally when Otago are playing. But I can't. I got to get off that Otago high horse now because they are well on top of my beloved CD at University Oval in some pretty sketchy conditions. Otago got 210 in reply to CD's 182, and last I saw CD were 120 for 4 in the second innings, although Tom Bruce was at the crease.
Yeah, Tom Bruce is still not out. 149 for 4.
Okay, there you go. Terrible goings on with Auckland. Auckland are just an embarrassment. They're playing Canterbury at Hagley Oval. They scored 217. Canterbury 413 for 9 to clear. Harvey Nichols got a second ton in 2 games. And at the Basin Reserve, Wellington were giving it to ND. When I wrote these down, Wellington had scored 270 and ND were 98 for 7, and it looked an absolute horror of a wicket. I think nearly every ND wicket I saw was caught nicking into a massive cordon, so things look fairly tricky at the Cello Basin Reserve.
They fought back pretty well, Northern District, with some lower order slogging from Brett Hampton, who got 85 off 77 balls.
Wow.
So they ended up on 190, actually. So, yeah, not a bad redemption.
Golden Box. Is that what you've gone through the Golden Box and the Silver Sweatband?
Yep. Henry Nichols is leading the Golden Box with 305, followed by Wellington's Nick Kelly with 244, and the Canterbury keeper batsman, who I suggest you keep an eye on because I think he will play for New Zealand in the not-too-distant future. That is Mitch Hay.
Excellent. Also, what's going on with Christian Clark's lid? Isn't
it good? Isn't it good? So he got a 5 during the week. He had this absolutely spectacular Ravishing Rick Rude type mullet, and now it's a full buzz cut, which he's going to stick with because it seemed to work quite well with him in terms of the wickets. Two quick things on Plunkett Shield. 25% of the first class season is now over. Yeah. That's how short it is. That's sad. That's a sad fact. And I know we're all super excited. Billy Bowden, 200 first class games umpired. He's never made it about himself, Billy. It's good.
No, I don't know if you've seen that horrendous video doing the rounds on social media of going through all his different manoeuvres. I've never wanted to punch a computer screen harder when I saw that.
That Christian Clark, I thought it had echoes of Morton Harkin, actually, in AHA days. Bit of take on me.
Oh, yeah.
But he's second in the silver sweatband with 14 wickets, trailing only Wellington's Nathan Smith by 15. Who has 15? Sorry.
Mr. Amelia Kerr. Yeah.
Right. This is my favourite part of the show.
Paul Ford's Cricket Violence Corner.
The Bengaluru City Police arrested a police constable who allegedly committed burglaries after suffering huge losses in online cricket betting. The police department recommended dismissing him from the service. Yalapa Sharanappa from the International Airport Police Station racked up debts through betting apps and landed in financial strife. The incident came to life when a resident near Bangalore University approached the police after gold and silver ornaments went missing from her house. The police checked 50 CCTV cameras and found a bike suspected to be used in the burglary, and this led them to Sharanappa, and they found his fingerprints matched this burglary and 2 other burglary cases. This is the weird bit. This is not the first time Sharanappa, the police officer, has been accused in a burglary case. While working at the Banna Shankari police station, he'd made friends with a burglar and attempted to break into a finance company building, but gave up after the alarm triggered. An attempted theft case was registered and the police discovered his involvement. He was suspended and he was posted to a different police station. Following this arrest, the police discovered 4 kilograms of silver ornaments and 26 grams of gold ornaments that he had pawned to get the money to repay his cricket debts. If you're betting on cricket, don't go and rob people's houses to get the money to do it. That's my advice.
Yeah, well, speaking of betting, I've actually put out $100 bonus bet. Put out $100 bonus bet for the BYC, and I've gone full missionary position. I've gone for the Hairy Rav to be New Zealand's top scorer. I was like, I couldn't go past it, paying $350, and I was like, you know what? I'll be a mug if I bet against him. So I was like, you know what? The Rav's going to do it. The Hairy Rav will do it again against Sri Lanka. So that's where
Was that a tip from Herschel Gibbs?
Yeah, love Herschel. Love Herschel.
Yeah, we've got so much correspondence. It is a bulging mailbag of correspondence. We might have to abridge some of it, but look, we do ask for it and we do appreciate it. We may actually have to start putting a word cap on some of them, though, actually, so we can get through
them. The one
today
from India is bloody good, though.
It is bloody good. It is bloody good. But first of all, we have an anonymous person writing in due to a terrible Jason Hoyt error last week where he says, "Hey, bozos, Keshav Maharaj is not a wrist spinner." And he is absolutely correct. He is a finger spinner. I don't know. Jason was obviously not taking my cues on that particular.
So obvious.
Doesn't sound like Jason.
Jason Hoyt. He obviously got his Shamsi and his Maharaj mixed up, or maybe he just saw that the ball was turning and assumed that it was a wrist spinner as opposed to watching Mitchell Santner.
Right. Shall we? How do you want to deal with this this Indian correspondence here? Paul Ford, do you want to?
I can get through it. It's a good yarn.
It's a good yarn.
I'm writing this on the way back. This is from Mike of Korokoro. I'm writing this on the way back from the MCA Stadium in Pune with a rickshaw driver who knows no words of English other than Kane Williamson, good as Coley. It's an hour's drive back to the city centre, and me and my mate Fadeaway have hired a rickshaw because we're in the middle of nowhere and it's the only form of transport available. The driver's just come to a screeching halt, hopped out of his rickshaw, yelled all kinds of words at us, bobbled his head from side to side and disappeared. We're thinking, oh shit, we've broken down in the middle of nowhere and we're stuffed. False alarm, the driver just needed a quick piss on the side of the motorway. We're soon on our way again and finally make it safely back to our hotel. India, how good. Anyway, I thought I'd drop the lads an email after Josh from Karori returned home after describing his exploits in the land of cricket. As he noted, the organisation of the World Cup's a complete shambles with the layers of security adding to the hassles, but it's been a hell of a great experience navigating my way around this beast of a country trying to see as many Black Cap games as possible. My journey hasn't been without pain, including the time I organised what I thought was a single sleeper on an overnight train from Chennai to Madurai. I pulled back the curtain to my sleeper and wasn't sure who was more surprised to see each other, me or the gigantic beast of an Indian chap looking back at this skinny, pale Kiwi boy. He was naked to the bone, festering in his own sweat, but with no other sleeper available, I grudgingly accepted that we were going to be spooning each other for 9 hours. The food here has been amazing, and after arriving in time for the Black Cat Bangers game, it didn't take me long to realise the best restaurants are the ones the rickshaw drivers hang out at. Anything that's served out of a metal vessel on a banana leaf and costs $2.50 has to be good. For the first week, I ate nothing but spicy prawn and crab curries washed down with Kingfisher strong.
Bold.
It took a week for my bunghole to get used to the morning, but India, how good. Anyway, lads, I digress. The Black Caps cracked themselves against the Saffers, but the highlight was Phillips' cameo in a near-capacity crowd going nuts over ravishing Ravindra. They love him, and to witness them chanting his name loud and proud whenever he was batting, bowling or fielding was special. He's a talent all right. Like Josh, I hit the road after the Bangers game in Chennai for some R&R in Mamallapuram. Jeez, it was hot and humid, but nothing that a few cold kingfishers couldn't fix. It was a relaxing 2-hour Uber drive from Chennai, but no one told me that Ubers are banned from driving interstate back to Chennai, where the Black Caps were due to play the Afghans. I only found that out the morning of the game, and with 2 hours to kick off, me and a rickshaw driver set sail down a 100-kilometre motorway at full throttle, barely reaching 50 kilometres an hour. 2 hours later, after a 50cc engine pounding in one ear, a couple of boom boxes blasting Indian music in the other, we reached the stadium. I hopped out of the rickshaw, paid the driver, and floated to the entrance on the smell of the exhaust fumes I'd been sniffing for the last 2 hours and cow steamers littering the roads. My reward, a resounding Black Caps win over the Afghans. India, how good. Anyway, lads, flying back to New Zealand soon. Look forward to listening to a few more BYC potties over the coming weeks. Great stuff, Mike of Quarter. Thanks, mate.
Very good, Mike of Correspondence. Here's a quick one from Stefan, much quicker. G'day, gents. When would an appropriate time to be to start a nationwide campaign to find Adam Milne? We could even crowdsource to get him a passport. Paul, do you know if Tom Blundell has rolled his arm over since Sydney 2019? Or if Southey is still bowling spinner in that session?
Niggly questions. I had a quick look. He bowled 4 overs in the Plunket Shield in 2020-2021. None in the last couple of seasons. So I think we could safely say that he's retired from the bowling crease, at least at domestic and international level. And the reference to Southey is an interesting one. That comes from 2016 when I think they were about to tour, or Bangladesh were coming here, or we were going to Bangladesh, and Southey said that he'd seen a tall off spinner in the nets that he thought might be quite good, and he could also bowl quite good medium pace with in swing and out swing with a similar haircut. So I'm not sure if he's still spinning, but I mean, he's the captain now. He doesn't have to try and get in the team, does he?
No, and he signs off by saying, keep up the good work, guys, but maybe not Dylan. Him being interviewed about his book on Radio New Zealand clearly shows there is a boomer among the BYC ranks, which is a bit harsh, Stephen.
You mean on Radio New Zealand? Jeez.
I would do anything to sell my book, One New Zealand Cricket Greats, from Stephen Fleming to Kane Williamson, at all good bookstores now.
I got one more bit of correspondence. Fergus here, writing in from Japan, but originally from the land of Ross Taylor, Jesse Ryder, a.k.a. the Bush, Wairarapa Bush, a.k.a. the world's greatest province. Really loving your guys' diligent and perceptive analysis of this year's World Cup. It really has been a godsend listening in from the isolated valleys of rural Japan. Despite all your fantastic observations, I am yet to hear anything with regards to Ish Sodhi. My question is, why is Ish not only being overlooked, but not even in the conversation? I thought the game against South Africa was a perfect opportunity for him to play. Southey came in for Ferguson, and although Southey being one of New Zealand's best seamers, when you line up Southey, Bolt and Henry, it's all a bit samey. Yes, I get the fact we have the brilliant Satner and 2-part-time spinners, Ration and Phillips, get found out. Ration has been solid, but the same goes. Ish offers something different, genuine wicket taker. What's going on here? The last few performances from the Black Caps indicates we may need to do something different. Roll the dice. Get Ish in there. Thoughts and prayers, Dylan Cleaver.
That is a perfect example of be careful what you wish for, Ferg.
He signs off. I got to go. Arigato gozaimasu as well. So there you go. Go the Black Caps.
Yeah. So he got his
Very
wish.
good from you, Michael.
It didn't quite work out.
Yeah, what was he? 4 overs for 44,000? Something like that.
Yeah.
Right, games coming up. Tonight we've got England versus the Schmockina Pancakes.
Yep. This is actually early night opportunity, and I'm taking it.
Yeah, you're gonna send this one through to the keeper.
Rubber.
I am. I'm going to let it go outside the off stump. So harmlessly passed. Although I say that, but at 9:30 I know I'll flick it on. And
England will be 6 for 43, and you'll be up till 2 o'clock in the morning again.
Yeah, I'll get hooked into Max O'Dowd's.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Love Max O'Dowd.
Got a great lid. And then obviously New Zealand Sri Lanka on Thursday night. And
We
then,
hope.
And then the other big match is the England Pakistan Saturday night as well, which is crucial for us.
Oh, and Afghanistan, South Africa.
Oh yes, true. So the next 3 games are pretty important.
That's Friday night. And seriously, if Afghanistan bat first in that, I back them.
Really?
If they can hold their catches, which they can't, so it's They are.
They do seem to have been imbued with a newfound calmness with the bat. They used to be absolutely hell for leather. You know, everyone gets 25 off about 17 balls. But Jonathan Trott, he's I don't know, he's put them on the what's a drug that you get injected with to just slow everything down? I was going to say a beta blocker, but is that wrong? Yeah, Valium. Yeah, they're batting with a bit of Valium. It's good from their point of view. Shithouse from New Zealand's point of view, though.
New Zealand are bowling with a bit of Ritalin, I think.
Yeah, it's a bit scattergun, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is the BYC, the feature-length BYC for this week. Back on Friday morning to pick at the bones of New Zealand v Sri Lanka. So we'll talk to you then. See you later.